Welcome to my teaching learning session. We continue with VPCG, which will talk about youth, gender, and with the second unit of youth, gender, which is developmental aspects of youth. As we discuss youth, gender in VPCG, it's very important to discuss these important aspects of youth to understand them thoroughly. Let's begin. What do we cover in this unit as unit 2? As I take care of psychology courses, I welcome you all to continue with Unit 2 as well. Now, we continue with the concept of development, understand the concept of youth again, that what was youth all about. We also speak about developmental aspects of youth. So, as we discuss youth, we are first going to touch with the adolescent, the age which primarily it gets centered over the youth. Also, when we speak about the developmental aspects of youth, which are what are the different areas that youth is developing, we start with the physiological and physical development of youth. After that, the cognitive development, which is again a adolescent. Then we speak about emotional and social development. Then we speak about moral development, and then further we speak about the developmental aspects of youth in the early adulthood, and in the same continuation of aspects of physiological, cognitive, emotional, social, and moral development continues. Speaking of this, when we speak about adolescent is the primarily concerns and the primarily aspects of something that we talk about development. Let's know what is development all about, and there is such an importance given in psychology when we speak about youth and gender. Development is a defined pattern of change that begins at conception. So, this is one time that it starts from the time that we are in the womb of the mother and it continues till death. So, it's a lifelong process. Development never stops, development never there isn't a halt in development, and the increment and decrement both will continue. Development primarily is not always in the increasing order, but also in the decreasing order. So it brings about stability, change, and consistency. Speaking of that, we need to know the different aspects of development. When we speak of different aspects of development, we have physical development, cognitive development, emotional development, moral and social development, and spiritual. Spiritual is the new kind which has been added to the developmental perspective that we have. So, speaking of this, physical development and physical changes that we continue to have will have change in body weight, height, internal organs. We are going to talk about muscular development, skeletal development, bone weight, the body composition, endurance of the body strength. So, this is one aspect of development that covers the physical body and the physical strength. Moving to the second aspect that we speak about, that is the cognitive development. Cognitive development, as we know, cognition is what? Cognition is the ability to think, reason, decision make, problem solve. So anything which is associated to the process of knowing is the cognitive aspect of development. So this will entail what all things? This will entail something which is individuals learning, thinking, decision making, academic abilities, and problem solving. So anything which concerns with a child, with an adolescence, education, their thinking, their memory power, and we talk about adult when it talks about their memory retention, their capacity to do something is called cognitive development. Speaking of emotional development as such, emotional development is a kind of development which will take care of connections and attachments. The feeling of being and forming relationship will be entailed in emotional development as such. Speaking of this, always when we speak of this, always remember that emotional development always brings about changes in relationship at every stage. As children, as when we speak about children, as we speak about adolescents and everything, children always have relationships which are associated to friendship. Adolescents have relationship which is associated to intimacy. This intimacy, if taken ahead, leads to formation of healthy, long-lasting relationship. So this will be emotional development, and then we come to moral development, an important essence of development in our society. It is the reason, it's to know the reason of the wrong and the right and behave accordingly. Morality changes as we grow, and also we need to know that when we talk about the right and wrong in a situation, that also changes. So morality changes also happen as the generation changes. So the generation that we have been a part of as millennials will have a different sense of right and wrong. And to the Gen Z, which are after us at 95 and above, would be generations that are going to be something which are going to talk about a different right and wrong. And so this Gen Alpha that we have today as children are going to have a different right and wrong. So as the culture and environment goes, remember the morality and its concepts also will change in this process of moral development. Speaking of one of the important development, which is social development, it's such an important development of everyone's life as we all are social animals. It talks about having the knowledge of people, relationship, the ways of communication, associating non-verbals to different kind of communications that you do. And the last and the new that has been a part of developmental aspects are spiritual development. This includes the understanding of consciousness, deeper awareness of self, associating that understanding of self to spirituality and divinity is something which is spiritual development, a new add on to the aspects of development. So, when we speak about these aspects, we need to know when we talk about adolescent as a stage, we will be talking of all of these development of adolescent. Adolescent is teenagers, which starts from 12, goes on till 19. 10, 11 is the new trend of the teenagers, and it goes on till 19 to 20 years of life, and after that begins the early adulthood. So let's start with the physical development and understanding what adolescent is all about. Adolescent years are the transitional years mostly. When we speak about this year, this stage isn't something which is so stable or something which is stagnant. It is such a dynamic, ongoing stage of our life because it's a transitional stage between childhood and adulthood. We have features of children and ongoing accomplishment of adulthood. Entering adolescent are going to have many changes, not only in their psyche but also in their physical body, which is difficult to adjust at point of time. Intellectual development, social challenges that comes up, which also makes changes in the moral sense of right and wrong. There is rapid change that often takes place at different rate. Remember, not every teenager or every adolescent will be same. That is never bound to happen. Every teenagers have their own life story, their own ways of transition, their own ways of physical development, cognitive development, and everyone is independent and experiencing different changes and challenges in their life. So adolescent is the time when the child becomes more independent, begins to explore options and opportunity, and this is the time where your puberty has struck. As soon as the puberty hits the individuals and the child's body is adolescence to the early childhood. Adolescence has also been divided into three stages, which is the early. Early is the one which is the early, adolescent. This would be children who would be just 10, 11, 12, and 14. As I said, the trends are changing. It's starting from 10, 11. And then we have the middle childhood, which is the core changing area. We are trying to strike a balance in the body, in the mind, in the social connections, which is from 15, 16, and 17, which is called the middle. This is the time children are crossing class 11th and 12th, one of the most important years of career development. And as soon as we are passing and choosing a path for life is the time that you come to the later development, which is going on from 18 to 20s, not even early 20s, I would say. It only stays till 2021 to us. So it goes on from 18 to 20 years of life. So it would be 2021. 24 is beginning of the early adulthood. This is post high school. So from the grade of 9, 6, 7, 8, and 9, you will find that children are hitting the early adolescent, then there is middle, and then we have later. There are different physical changes and psychological and emotional social spiritual changes that you will find in all the stages. Some are stagnant and some are experienced differently. Moving to the next. Moving to the next, we have developmental task of adolescence. Let's begin with understanding, which is a huge, which captures a lot of importance in our times also, because adolescent is a stage of development which is filled with stress and storm. Stress which is not only built by their own self but also has been given from the society to them. So this stage is ideally considered to be a stage of stress and storm. So we have important task which has been concluded by Robert Havinghurst. Robert Havinghurst is a psychologist of University of Chicago that suggests that developmental can be best understood in the pattern of understanding the developmental task. Speaking of developmental tasks, what are tasks when we assume them to be? Tasks are ideally milestones of every stage. So, speaking of tasks or milestones of every stage, these are tasks which are primarily to be abilities, to be goals which are to be achieved by teenagers. They're not one but many. As adolescence is filled with stress and trauma, their task needs to be accomplished on time, and we have a very less amount of duration as it is a transitional stage which is from 11 to 20 21 years of life. Beginning with these tasks, there are 11 having hertz tasks which has been given to us. Let's begin with the first one. Physical sense of self is such an important, a paramount importance to adolescent. The reason the changes in the physical body are so huge that it starts from the birth, making you comfortable, but teenager is the time where the growth is so rapid. Rapid as there are puberty hitting to the women and to the males, bringing about a lot of physiological changes and physical traits, which changes with every year and then, which marks a lot of instability and adaptation, which is required frequent by this stage. So at this point of time, the first task that needs to be accomplished by this stage of adolescent is the sense of self. Sense of self, extremely important. Reason, until we do not have the confidence of how we are looking and how we are being, becomes very difficult to accomplish what we want to do and how do we want to do it. So speaking of this is one of the most first important tasks that we have, emergence and an understanding of you, your physical body as a boy and a physical body of you as a girl. Let's move to the next task. We have 11 such tasks which has to be accomplished in a span of approximately 10 to 12 years, which is the adjustment to the new intellectual abilities that these children are building and also having the capacity to build in. So, speaking of this, adolescent must adjust to new intellectual abilities, which says that there are sudden spurt of physical growth. They find increase in so many abilities to think. Their vocabularies are increasing. Their ideologies, ideas are coming and filling up their brain because there is a change in the way they look at the world. There is a change in the way they understand the world, and that's how they're understanding the different abilities. They're understanding the different ways that they can adjust to the society. So this is something which is the new intellectual development, which are intellectual development new, meaning you becoming acquainted to the skills that you have in yourself. After this, let's move to the third task. These are few in a number. We'll get back to this page again. Initially, we started with understanding a sense of self and adjusting with a new intellectual ability. We will get back to this page once again at the end. Let's move to the next. Now, speaking of the third task that we need to adjust to and we need to be doing is adolescent must adjust to increased cognitive demands at the school, which means as we are increasingly becoming and coming to closer to adulthood, we also need to adjust to the demands of the school in terms of cognitive terms, which is responsibilities, high intellectual, faster working, speed, minimal errors needs to be done, practical understanding of the world. So at this point of time, we are preparing adolescent to accept the cognitive demands, which is to understand more, reason better, problem solve more strategically. All of this is done to make them understand and make them give it an understanding that responsibilities that would be preparing them for the responsibilities that are coming as an adult roles. So cognitive demands could be reading more as a teen to develop more skills. As a cognitive demand would be understanding more, developing more, also performing at par to their age, which will prepare them for deadlines, will prepare them for doing things skillfully as an adulthood also. Now, coming to the next. Adolescent must develop expanded verbal skill. This is paramount. Communication skills for adolescent holds extreme importance. This is the time that adolescent must extend their ways of expressing themselves through verbal skills. Why? Mature adolescents have bright intellectual capacity. School demands are increasing, getting closer to adult roles. The better that they will be able to accommodate their verbal skills. the better that they will be able to keep their verbal skills at par. That means speak well, adjust, communicate well, their needs, their responsibility, likes and dislikes. The more that they're able to verbally make changes in their voice, intonation, context, the better skilled and individuals and adolescent they are for the adulthood. So this is extremely important. Limited language is something that will make them. I feel survival of the fittest is something that the adolescent might go through. Verbal skills are very less. Now, moving to next is the adolescent must develop a personal sense of identity. Extremely important. This one is when we speak about personal sense of identity prior to the adolescent, which was the stage of the childhood. Children were holding the responsibility, were held as a responsibility by parents. They were holding the identity also of their parents. This is the time career development, career choices, job opportunities, everything is flooded to the child. What is the thing that they need to be doing? They need to have an identity of their own. So identity formation. This was supported by a psychologist, Eric Erikson, as one of his stage, which was called the identity formation versus role confusion. One of the most important theory this was, which stated that formation of identity is understanding who am I and what I want to do, what I want to explore and be a part of. If children are able to identify what they want to do, if children are as adolescent are able to understand what are their roles and responsibilities and who they are as an identity comfortably, they'll be able to understand what are their goals in the society. This provides them a sense of identity, a competent sense of self, a accomplished, purposeful sense of self, which is extremely important at this point. If this doesn't happen, let's take an example as we talk about adolescent, and it's extremely important. If this doesn't happen, it would lead to something which is called as role confusion. Role confusion is experimental behavior, risky behaviors, not having an identity of your own, dependent on friends, dependent on family, under the shelter of still affiliated organized sections, and you still do not form and tell who you are. This will lead to risky behaviors, lead to wrongdoings in children, and a confused sense of self. So this completes with something as we stated as a developing a personal sense of identity. Moving ahead, we come to adolescent must establish adult vocational goals. This is important. Along with career development at the age of 17, 18, we also have establishment of identities. At the same time, children should plan what do they want to do when they grow up, what are the skills that they would want to develop, what are the extracurricular activities that they would want to indulge in, and vocational goals that they would want to achieve. So this was vocational goals. Moving to next is adolescent, very importantly involve and establish emotional and physiological independence from his or her parents. The reason that we are saying from his or her parents is the childhood is marked by a lot of dependency. It is marked by a lot of relying on the parents, on the relying on something which is a caregiver, a parent which is associated to something which is a sheltered individual supporting the children in every decision, every reasoning, every step taking, which needs to be parted ways from this point of time. So adolescents may yearn to keep themselves safe, secure, and supportive. Dependent relationships to be taken in control, and independent relationship must be formed. So speaking of this stage, adolescent must have an identity which is emotionally concrete, psychologically stable, to complete themselves and make them ready to move to another stage, which is adulthood with great confidence. Coming to another task that needs to be completed before you turn into an adulthood or enter the stage, which is developing subtle, productive, and very healthy peer relationship. Peer relationships are very unique to adolescents. Adolescents, I feel, completely relies on their peer group for decision making, for understanding at times, understanding themselves also, understanding their goals also. So they need to know that peer interaction is not unique to adolescent. Peer interaction seems to hit a peak of importance, which is at 15, 16, 17, it's going to be completely flowed over an adolescent. Adolescent would be deciding, doing, working according to their friends. But later is the time that there should be understanding of productive, healthy friendship, which will allow them to move productively to an adulthood. which is for support. So now the peer grouping should be so stable, so subtle, and so convincing that it should stay around them for support, for production, or for a healthy relationship that can go on for middle adulthood and later adulthood also. Coming to another, adolescent must manage his or her sexual identity, which means there is a need to identify what is personally their own, also to identify what do they hold as a gender and sex, which is a confusion in today's generation, which is leading to a lot of sense of adaptation of different genders. This needs to be clear in nowadays, as there is a lot of confusion of not understanding their roles and responsibility of gender roles different from sexual orientation. This needs to be established at this point of time, because any confusion would lead to differences and difficulty in early adulthood. Forming intimate relationship would be completely confused. Also, might lead to a backseat. The social interaction might go to a backseat and might not ever come back. So there should be a sense of clarity. The self image must accommodate to their personal sense of masculinity and femininity. So what you feel should also look like what you are. That completes with one of the most important perspective of adolescent. This completes with goals and goals of adolescent. Let's go through the image once again to find out more such tasks, which was apart having herds, which is developing a productive peer relationship, a sense of personal identity, meeting demands on mutual roles and responsibility, negotiating relationship with peer care, peers and caregivers. The reason mentioning this is being able to be independent, not relying on them, having their own personal value system, which is the sense of moral education and moral values to be correct and as per their own principles. Also adjusting to the new sense of self, which is already done, and also thinking abstractly. Not being concrete, not being rigid, abstract thinking to be appreciated. This completes with the goals which was given by having herds. These are tasks, and let's go to the first kind of development of adolescent, which is the physical development that we have. Physical development. Physical development of adolescent is extremely important as they're hitting puberty at this point of time. And speaking of puberty, puberty hits both the genders and both the sexes differently. Speaking of male hits puberty at 12 and 14, which remains still concrete and rigid. With the females, because of the eating habit, the preservatives being found in the environment, the puberty is shifting early, which is to 11 and 12. Also, researchers have quoted a lot of times puberty is onsetly moving back in some genders is because of the eating habit, weight gain, changes in the systems that we have around. So remember, pubertal changes around 2 to 4 years to complete. It will always take these amount of time to complete in a human body. So as soon as an individual hits puberty at 11, it's going to be discomfort, it's going to be uncomfortable. By 14, 15, the middle adolescence is comfortable, stable, understanding, and self-aware. So speaking of puberty, there are two kinds of developments that we find in the both individuals, which is primary and secondary sexual characteristics. Primary takes care essentially the reproductive organs, which is the growth and essential reproductive value of both males and females. And when we talk about secondary talks about the appearances that you find, which makes them different as male and female. Males will have a coarser, harder, harsher voice. There would be pubic hairs. There are going to be harsher head value on the males, and in the females, it could be development of breasts. It's going to be again changes in the voice tone being more pitchier in comparison to males, and also menstruations, which will be hitting timely to women. These are different ways that we look as male and females to human body. As we develop from physical categories, we come to two kinds of sexual characteristics. Reproductive value shown, secondary sexual characteristic mentions. Visible changes are always something which is secondary sexual characteristics. Different to both the genders, it's going to be different as both are primarily holding different characteristics. The other occurs at 11 and 12 as remains stable for males. Women can start as early as 10 and 11 also as a sign. Growth is extremely important, which is responsible by primary, secondary sexual characteristic. Growth of sexual organs is important for primary. Secondary is something which appears in appearances, which is also shown in the picture. So picture shows you as females what are the secondary sexual characteristic, which in appearance would be visible, different to what it appears in the male. So coarser value, harder hair, the face textures, the harder voice, the hair on the face. Also at the same point of time, The women also starts appearing heavier pelvic girdles. There's going to be broadening of hips and the upper arms gaining weight. So this is the way the two genders discriminately develop, and primary and secondary sexual characteristic develop as a physical and sexual development in adolescent and youth, making them comfortable and stable to get ready to make them move to adulthood. Now, coming to cognitive development, one of the most important development of adolescent as cognition talks about thinking, learning, reading, and memorizing. So, cognitive development in adolescent is something about analyzing what is cognition. Cognition analyze situations logically in terms of analyzing situation, cause and effect of a situation. They are very hypothetical. Give them a situation, they will take out not one but multiple solutions. Seeing the situation in different perspective, from all round perspective, is also an ideology of something which is coming from cognition. So, speaking logically, adolescents are now able to analyze situation logically in terms of cause and effect, and to entertain hypothetical situations and entertain what if possibilities about the world. So, the what if possibilities are talking about trial and error. Trial and error, making trials and finding through errors that this is not possible. Doing another trial, finding from errors, this is not possible. There is a high level of thinking ability, which is thinking about the future. They're able to evaluate alternatives. That's the reason multiple alternatives of a situation is available with the adolescent. That's the reason adolescents are unfortunately capable of overthinking. Because of evaluating, thinking multiple perspective, they overthink a situation way too much, extendedly, exaggeratingly overthink. They have the ability to set personal goals in their minds and be driven to achieve them. Although these are all marked individual differences in cognitive ability, that means this is all marked by differences. There could be a teenager which was not capable of making a personal goal, cannot be as analytical, might not be having abstract thinking, and might lose that ability of hypothetically analyzing situations. So, although there are individual differences, but they all fall under the same frame of logical analysis, of goals being achieved, of being able to hypothetically think about situation and have multiple alternatives. These new capacities allow adolescents to engage in introspection. Introspection is one of the most important aspects that teenagers develop at this time, which is being able to see through their own personal sense of, like, for example, being able to analyze by the end of the day how was your day and what you did and how productive and constructive your day was is a sign of introspection. This is being instilled in children also, but it starts developing at the age of 13, 14, and 15 as adolescent has the capacity. They're mature enough to see what is before and what is beyond their cognitive capacity. They're able to understand what is possible and what is not possible as per their strength. So this is an introduction is about what cognition means to adolescent and how they are different from the other stages of development. Yes, they are struggling. Yes, there is tentativeness. They do have way too over evaluations. They exaggerate circumstances and situations, but yet forms out to be a different stage of development. According to Jean Piaget developed formal operational thought, which was in the last of the Piaget stages. A child becomes able to reason not only about tangible items and events, but also about hypothetical or abstract ones. Which means, as we thought, this is the hypothetical deductive thinking and reasoning of adolescence, which is being able to not reason just one tangible object, a situation, many reasons one condition but many ways of solving it. That is a hypothetical ways of imagining things could happen, how happen, and what could be the result. Also, as we say, it's formal operation. It suggests that we are formally in the society operating, which is individual can operate on forms, on representatives. This allows individual to think and reason well. This what makes them different from a childhood. Childhood does not have the capacity of hypothetical deductive, they only are consumed in their own perspective. By this time, which is 11, 12, 13, and 14, adolescents are able to understand and gauge other people's perspective. They are able to see through the perspective of others. They have the understanding and the see-through transparency of having the ability to understand what other people think and what I think is different. aspects and capacity, whereas this ability is completely missing in children. Children exhibit something which is called as egocentrism. And when we come to adolescent do not have the self-focus, but egocentrism shifts to something else as what we did in childhood. After hypothetical deductive reasoning, which is developing hypothesis based, which might logically occur, they are able to think what all possibilities would be beforehand. So they're able to assume at times, make solutions, make uh, handle situations beforehand, which is like giving a call and talking before the call, which is analyzing what can I say, what can I not say, if this was said, what will I say. So the entire play of the conversation that the adolescent will do with their friend can be played beforehand. They have this capacity to play all the conversation beforehand in comparison to something which is the adulthood and also childhood. Childhood do not have this capacity. Also, Crane in 2005 mentioned that because they're able to engage in scientific thinking, they are systematically able to test things. That's why they're able to schedule things. They study by scheduling, by making timetables, by organizing their priorities. That's what makes them formal operation, formally operating scientifically in their environment. This is formal operation, which is an essential part of something that we say as in terms of adolescence logical development. They are logical and equally abstract. Moving hypothesis creation. This is how hypothetical deductive reasoning takes place. Hypothesis creation, then there is deduction, which happens after you create a hypothesis, you publicly report it, you analyze it, you deduce it, and then you test the hypothesis if it's true or false. This finishes with operational thought, which is formal operational. Moving ahead. As we stated that there is also egocentrism with adolescent, but this kind of egocentrism is far more different from what a childhood experiences. This is heightened self-focus. Yes, it is even in the adolescent, but the self-focus is also just about oneself. It isn't about devoiding the understanding of others, devoiding the understanding of what the others will assume. So, speaking of this, remember, ecocentrism here has a difference from the childhood. So, when we talk about difference from the childhood, it will be stated in the ways that children has self-focus of not understanding people's perspective. If they feel that they are feeling the pain, they equally assume the others in the world are equally would be having the pain. In adolescent, the self-focus is about themselves, the concerns are about themselves, and the change of perspective is about themselves. Is and moving ahead, Crane also mentioned that it is attributing to the unlimited power of their own thoughts. Here, egocentrism is about unlimited power of their own thoughts. Piaget believed it was not until adolescents took in adult roles that they were able to learn the limits of their own thought. That means stop overthinking, overanalyzing, keeping themselves on center stages, patronizing themselves too much about situation, and at the same time being able to view other people's perspective. So that was how it was different with the egocentrism of the childhood. Now, at the same time, during the time Piaget's theories were being learned, during the time Piaget's theories of cognitive development was being assessed, Elkins also in 1867 produced two concepts, stated that these concepts are a part of the egocentrism of teenagers. So these two things will give rise to another understanding, which are two terms, which is imaginary audience and personal fable. These terms are actually a part of the unlimited thought that the teenagers comprise of, which is different from adult and teenagers. And speaking of this, when we speak about imaginary audience, let's understand it with this as and personal fable. Imaginary audiences, adolescents believe that those around them are always concerned with them and focused on their appearance. This could be taken with an example by, for example, there's a mark in the pocket which has an ink mark in the pocket. No one is observing. Teenager is walking across the corridor and he assumes, like the term suggests, imaginary audience, that everyone is becoming an audience to them, which is they have a belief that everyone's watching that ink spot on their shirt, despite multiple people might have not even addressed it. So Elkine thought that the imaginary audience contributes to way to self-consciousness. This it happens in early adolescence. This allows early adolescent to be way too conscious. They check themselves multiple times before going out. They check their attire, their appearance. They are never satisfied with the way they look. The desire for privacy and reluctance to share information may further be the reaction of the feeling under constant observation by the others, which means they always feel that their privacy is evaded. They always feel people are watching them. They always feel that they're center of attention. Ideally, that never happens. That's just an overthinking thought process of the egocentrism that they assume that people are watching them. So, also an example, for example, a teenager just dropped something on the floor while walking, and that item is dropped and not looked upon by anybody. But the teenager might assume for half an hour that the way that I dropped it carelessly was noticed by others, and people will now judge me as irresponsible, which might not have been mentioned or probably seen also by others. So, this is how self conscious they become, how self engrossed that they become, and their desire for privacy is obviously dismantled by them themselves. So this completes with something which is imaginary audience, and where we move to something which is personal fable, and there's another understanding of invincibility fable. Personal fable is more common. That's something which is given by David Elkind in 1967. David Elkind explains that because adolescent feels so important to others, imaginary audience, they regard that their feelings are unique. Their feelings are special and unique, and something that they go through, no other goes through such a feeling. That's why we will always experience these generations stating that my kind of pain is something that no one will understand. I cannot share what I'm going through. Such comments are also made to parents that my troubles are something that you will not be understanding because there is a generational gap. This happens because the adolescent feels that their thoughts and feelings are special, unique, unique to themselves and their experiences. And also at times it could be in a positive way, it could be in a negative way. So it could be in a wonderful way adding to them or in a awful way adding to them. So this is the personal fable which was added by something which was an aspect of egocentrism, and out of which came the invincibility fable, an adolescent's egocentric conviction that he or she cannot be overcome or even harmed by anything that might defeat a normal mortal, such as, it could be something which is drug abuse, it could be high speeding. So their conviction of uh, egocentrism also stated that she cannot be overcome or harmed by anything. So this thought that I am the only one who's doing this task and there's nobody else who can do it better. Such a thought is also a part of invincibility fable, which just adds too much of strength to egocentrism of them. Keeping of that, let's move ahead and take an example of the uniqueness of personal fable. So when we talk about one's uniqueness, remember personal fable is talking about your experiences, which is also reinforcing the value of your belief of invulnerability, especially to other aspects like death. Adolescents will engage in risky behaviors such as drinking, driving, taking drugs, promiscuous sexual activity, and feel that they will not suffer negative consequences because they feel their experiences are unique and they are experiencing it the way they want. That's the reason that this stage of development is one of the most riskiest stage of development, where children, because of their egocentrism, do not understand the plight of their activities and the consequences that they can bear. Erkind also believed that adolescents' egocentricity emerged in early adolescence and it declines by the middle and the later. So by 16, 17, these children will stop being a little cautious, they will get a little comfortable, and by 18, 19, egocentricity is diminishing. An example of imaginary audience, as we see the cartoon, Walt turns the radio down, and it is stated, "You are doing that Nick Jagger thing. You are lip singing the song, and this is embarrassing. I am not related to these people." So when we speak about one person putting off the radio, the other person is assuming that he is the one who's always being watched, most likely being watched like actors. So this is again getting too conscious about what are they doing in their personal space. Might not the other people might not be watching them, but they assume that they are being watched. So this is imaginary audience and something which is personal fable and invincibility fable, a part of egocentrism and cognitive development, far more different from something which is the cognitive development of other stages. Now, after cognitive development, let's move to social and emotional changes, which are far more impacting on adolescent at this time. During adolescence, we will see that children are so connected to their peer group, they're so attached to their acquainted relationships also, which are formed in like 2 minutes, which are formed in like on a stage of going to a trip. They become such a huge part of child's life. Every child's social emotional development is different, it's unique. Every adolescent social emotional development is different, it's unique. Your child is developed and shaped by their own experiences, their unique combinations of gene, brain development, environment, experiences with family and friends, community, and culture. Social and emotional changes that a child is forming in the time of identity formation and learning is to be an adult. Social changes first focus is the search of identity, which we just discussed below. Starts at the age of 12 as we turn into the middle, finishing the middle adolescent. Why at 12? Because at this point of time, children are getting a lot of social roles, extracurricular activities, various identities, probably a good orator, disciplined child, responsible, the head of the group. So many responsibilities the child are holding on a social level. There's a strong sense of self, very high built resilience, the ability to bounce back that allows them to have a purpose in life. Identity at this point of time is extremely important, and the children who are able to understand who they are and what they want to be, what they want to achieve, and the purpose of their life are happily achieving their identities. At the same time, the ones who are not able to do that, there is a road confusion. They get to risky behaviors. They get into vandalism, theft for wrong things, drug, inducement that happens, addiction that happens to these people. So let's take an example of identity versus role confusion, as mentioned in the image. Adolescents derive comfort from social circles and gain a feeling of significance. This support helps them to facilitate personality maturation. Therefore, through friendship, teenagers learn to navigate relationships, mediate conflicts, arise inside or outside the group. This is understanding achieving a goal and identity could be in relationship of maintaining a significance importance of yourself. This is one of the most important social change that adolescent goes through. Then seeking more independence. This is the time that they have to make their own decisions. Mm, they have to be with their own decisions. They have to be capable to make correct decision to become independent. Independence will only come when they can take the onus of their own, onus of their own activities and be responsible. Seeking responsibility both at home and school, looking for new experiences. The nature of teenage brain development means that teenagers are more likely to seek new experiences, something which is more exciting, more risky, more excitement dwelling, and adrenal rush is paramount to teenagers. Teenagers love anything which is adrenal rushing, which is zesty, which is filled with zeal and enjoyable. That completes with few of the changes. Continuing with more, they're very influenced. Social development at this point of time is extremely influenced by friends, especially when it comes to behaviors. The reason for this is that at this point of time, the behaviors here are more the identity of self and self-esteem. They imitate one another, they imitate their friends, they imitate their social group to become the way and the kind of social groups that they are part of. So there is a sense of self which is developed, which gives concept and esteem. Also, a little bit of sexual identity, which is explored here. Children tend to form a little bit of intimate relationship, having crushes, falling in love, getting out in love. So these romantic relationships, but these are not exactly romantic, but simply dates that they go on to explore their sexuality. These are not necessarily intimate relationships, though they can break down. It happens through various mode. It can happen through internet by finding a common way that they social media, common friends, etc. Communicating in different ways also begins here. Children are capable to use the telephones properly, are able to use the internet, surf, computer, laptop, etc. So they are as capable to use the different modes of communication. So these are in total are the social changes that you will find in a adolescent. These social changes are of great importance to them. Now moving to emotional changes, this show strong feeling and intense emotion at different type. Moods might seem unpredictable. There is so much up and down that emotionally these children experiences. The brain development is something which is taking over, almost complete also. extreme turmoil of a mood, up and down. They experience everything as a jolt, too high or too less. Everything is black and white. They are unable to see the grays in life, which impacts their emotionality at a greater level. So, this is one that they are so different from the other specific arenas and specific stages of life. They are far more self conscious than any other stages of development, conscious by their appearance, the way they look, that can further impact their self esteem, impact the way they work, impact the way they interact with people. So their bodies do become a part of appearance, which is so important to them and makes them very self conscious and involves egocentrism, which is imaginary audience, and something which is personal favor. Yes, also this stage goes through a bulletproof stage of thinking, which is flight of ideas, too many thoughts coming at one point of time. The child's decision making skills are still developing, they are still learning, they are still knowing that their own actions can lead to consequence which could be both good and bad. So this is that bullet stage of development where thinking is blasting, brainstorming, moving across. So this was the stage of social development. Now let's come to moral development. Speaking of moral development takes in, develops the distinction between what is right and wrong in different situations. So, moral reasoning is extremely important that needs to be developed. These stages of development initially were provided by Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget converted them into two stages, autonomous and heteronomous, and stated in the beginning that when we speak about moral development, the childhood times, which is from 0 to 10 years of children, are very autonomous, which is that they listen to their parents. Their entire moral reasoning is internalized. So when we speak of the term internalized, that means their moral reasoning is depending upon their parents. So it's like if the parents have quoted, you do not have to do this because this is incorrect and I will not give you this amount of achievements, they will not do it. So it's all internalized, their morals are internalized. After this, we have heteronomous. Heteronomous is something which is starting from adolescent. Adolescent was the time that they're able to see the perspective of other people. They're even self-conscious of their image. So their principles are now building in, and they are just not internalized but also externalized. Knowing this, American psychologist quoted that there is an extension of Jean Piaget's theory that we have by Lawrence Kohlberg. Lawrence Kohlberg developed a best-known theory of development, which was extension of Jean Piaget's previous work of moral reasoning. Lawrence Kohlberg gave a very interesting way. He gave a lot of dilemmas to children, so children of different ages to understand their understanding of moral development. Started with one example of Heinz steal the drugs. One of the you can research this. This is one of the most important one of the researches which is very popular. Reading it out, this was a scenario that happened at the time when he gave out his stages of moral development, provided not one but many of such dilemmas to children, adolescent, adulthood. This dilemma was one of the most famous dilemmas that it was called as Heinz steal the drugs. So this scenario was that a woman had cancer, which was considered to be Heinz's wife, and her doctors believed that there's only one drug that can save her. This drug had been discovered at the local pharmacist but was very expensive. It was something making for $200 per dose, and it was being selling for 2000 per dose. An extremely expensive expense for Heinz. So he went, as a husband, went to the pharmacist, bargained to raise and reduce the number to $1,000 to to be able to procure it, to be able to buy it for the cancer treatment. He tried negotiating with the pharmacist. He did some barter system that you take this and you give me this, and the rest amount could be given later. Also tried saying that it's a new drug, needs some recipient. You need to reduce the amount and get it to $1,000. Also, the pharmacist refused after so much of negotiation and said that I cannot be providing it at any less than the price which is given or accept the partial payments, which is providing a half payment right now and would be needing the similar half later. So he completely refuted to the idea, refuted to the negotiation of Heinz. Heinz instead, because of nervousness, the need of the hour and the urgency, broke the pharmacist's entire outlet. He broke the outlet and stole the drug for his wife and provided it to the hospital for the treatment. The entire scenario went was a dilemmatic hypothetical situation which was given to children. Now, what should the husband correctly would have done was the question which was given to all the stages of development. And according to these stages of development, were formed the different stages of Lawrence Kohlberg stage of moral development. Let's move to the stages that we have. We as adolescents and with the ones that we are developing is stage two. And the others, when we speak about children at 3-7 age, as noted in the diagram, are the pre-conventional stages. Speaking of pre-conventional stages that we talk about is avoiding punishment. Children will at 3 age or probably 3 plus would say that we would not. This is not a correct thing that the husband, which is Heinz, did. He or she would be punished for such an activity. The reason is that at the moment it's pre-conventional, the level of logic and understanding is less at a 3 plus. It goes according to the parents. It goes according to what parents tell us right and wrong. And parents have told that you will be punished if you lie or you harm the other individual. So punishment, avoiding punishment, this should be wrong as for a 3 plus. What does the 4 and 5 understands? Which is self-interest, which is moral reasoning is completely dependent on the self-interest. Here, a 7 and 6 year old might say that it's fine if it's for the self interest, but it's incorrect because it can be punished. So, self interest is taken into account in pre conventional, but also quoted that it can be rewarded or punished according to the intent. Intent was correct, but the conduction activity was wrong, which is breaking the pharmacy outlet. Now, moving ahead, we come to ages which is starting from 8 to 13. This is the second, which talks about the conventional stage where the adolescence is coming. So Kohlberg actually broke it into three primarily levels. The reason was he stated that every child falls at a different level. No two children's stages can think the same. So no 2 year old can be thinking same as a five, and a five can be thinking same as an 8, 9. That's how even adolescents were different when we speak about their stages. So the entire stage was primarily divided into three big stages, which was pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional. Pre-conventional is extremely for early childhood and the middle, and the conventional is for later childhood and adolescent, where the adolescent and the youth falls in. So here Piaget believed that not all people will reach the highest cognitive development. So according to Piaget, the last stage of principle, which is developed by adulthood in the Lawrence Kohlberg's theory, is not achieved by everybody. That is a stage which is not assumed by everybody also. So speaking of that, we at the second stage are conventional stages. The next period of moral development is marked by acceptance of social rules regarding what is good and what is bad. Here, children actually observe a very good boy, good girl image. They are doing things at 8, 9. Like this is the time where children are in classes, especially in classes 6, 7th, and 8th. This is that time, and children wants to do everything which is told by an adult because they want a good boy, good girl image, starting from the conventional stage. Then we come to something which is the social order maintaining. This is the stage which is a stage, a real stage when we talk about social order maintaining of the adolescent. This is the time that they are more focused on social order developing. They're more focused on the fact that what is correct according to society. Is it benefiting to the person? The whole judgment is made considering the entire situation. So all the perspective, as teenagers are hypothetical deductive individuals, all the perspective is identified and they found that teenagers have their own thought in terms of along with law and order. Their law and order judgment depends upon the situation that a person is stuck into. So people will begin to consider society as a whole when judgments are made. So they would dictate a judgment depending upon the conditions of the cancer patients wholly, making it an incorrect thing of punishing the person because the person was in the need of the hour. It was the requirement of the person. It was something the person needed immediately. So this was the maintaining social order, the focus on the maintaining social order by following rules and by doing their duties and respecting authorities. At the same time, they will be quoting that whatever done by Heinz was incorrect, but it was the need of the hour. So the law and order understands the intent now and the purpose. So the children here now understand the intent and the purpose, and as per the law and order will make judgments, whatever the whole country law takes into account. So here there is no individual principles till now. There isn't anything like that. As soon as the children moves ahead, which is the last, which is the post-conventional, which is mentioned here on the page. The post-conventional is the social contract. Social contract talks about post-conventional is whatever is conventional, what is universal, something which is stereotypical is not being followed. Now they follow their own sense of decision making, their own sense of understanding. So post-conventional is something which is a contract between social order and their thinking. They feel that should be punished. What is important? Something which is not harming anybody should not be punished. Something which requires a new law requires, for example, medicines not being so expensive. So social contract is amalgamation of the social connotation, which is social law and order, the world law and order, the court judgment law and order, along with the intent of the people. And the last that we talk about, which moves to adulthood, which is not a part of adolescence. Speaking of this, moral development at this point of time with the teenagers is very different from what an adulthood holds. Adulthood holds principles. Teenagers hold social contract, flexible thinking, heteronomous thinking. Heteronomous is their judgment will change with different situation. Children will never change their decision. If it's to be punished, it's to be punished. If it's to be rewarded, it's to be rewarded. And if it's incorrect, it's always going to be. So there is a black and white when we talk about an adult. Adult will always be according to their own principles and thought and then quote a judgment. Here, teenagers make a contract between the law and order. They understand the law and order also because they're studying. They're studying an extensive amount of law and order. They're in their academics also. They have an opinion. They feel that the purpose and the flaw both should be valued. They're far more flexible, very heteronomous. They decide according to intent, situation, and the world order. This completes with the moral development. And lastly, we come to something which is spiritual development. Spiritual development of adolescence is not extended to moral values, it is extended to understanding of the way values are given to this section of society. Adolescent is again different to different times and different to different individual, as we state. So speaking of that, when we talk about moral development in the beginning, that this is that stage where the social rules are regarded as wrong and right. Spirituality moves from moral values for adolescent, and it comes from family, peers, and teachers and social grouping that they are associated to. It's not a mandatory value. As spiritual development is a new aspect to teenagers, we need to understand that this is not a mandatory value. This is not something which is going to be a part of everybody. There are going to be teenagers who are spiritualistic, which is have a maintenance of law, have a maintenance of religion, have a maintenance and a value and opinion of spirituality, which is the divinity. What goes around comes around, and there could be people who believe in science. There could be people who believe that spiritual development it's about what is visible and what you get. So it's about what goes around comes around. Scientific, what you do is what you get. On the other areas, there would be people who are associated to value systems from the family, value system from the community, which have concrete systems or probably linking a specific value, a specific goal, or a specific theme. So, being honest could be a value which could be associated to spirituality. There's a large difference between spirituality and religion. Religion is more community and religion based. Spirituality is more way of living and more humanly and associated to humility than consideration to associated to value that accustom you to rituals, language, art, architecture. No, that's more cultural, religious specific. Spirituality is development of the conscious. There is a high development of conscious in teenagers at this point of time. But the conscious exactly comes from their experiences. They are scientific, they are flexible, they are open to other people. So they are very flexible. So their conscious awareness says self understanding will always be because of their own self experiences. Also, people with a higher self esteem, higher self concept can be associated to spirituality in a very clear sense of it is or it is not. People with lower self esteem and lesser understanding of what they are doing and how they perceive themselves among people in world might have higher difficulty of understanding this way of life, this way of self knowledge and consciousness amongst themselves. So this is how it could be different in people who are highly self-conscious, has a great self-concept and self-esteem, and not developing spirituality in them, and the ones who have a greater self-concept and greater self-esteem and developing spirituality. Spirituality is not a mandate development. A conscious understanding is not a mandate development. Thank you, everybody, for Unit 2. Continue later.